In this episode, we're gonna make some really cute foldable bags. I've got 3 designs to share with you, and we're gonna break this tutorial into 2-part videos. So in the first part, which is the one that you're watching right now, we're gonna make bag number 1 and bag number 2. And in the second part, we're gonna make bag number 3. So these are lightweight bags that you can fold into obviously very compact size. Great to have as a spare bag, so you can throw one in your purse or keep one in your car for a sudden shopping spree. It will be great also for groceries. Also, if you're going for vacation or traveling somewhere, you can take one as an extra bag. Obviously, this will not take so much space in your suitcase. So these bags are very handy, and it will make a great gift as well. I mean, who doesn't want an extra bag for running errands or grocery or something? Here's the first bag that we're gonna make. This bag measures 19.5 inches wide at the widest point and 14.5 inch tall, and the depth is about 4.5 inch. And the folded size is about 7 inch by 4 inches. For this bag, I use lightweight linen fabric. However, you can also use cotton quilting fabric. And you can make this bag reversible, so make sure to choose cute prints or nice color for both sides. Bag number 2 is measuring approximately 14.5 inch by 14 inch, and the depth is about 5 inches. And the folded size of this bag is about 5 inch by 3.5 inch. For this bag, we're gonna use canvas fabric or home decor fabric or any heavier weight fabric such as denim or heavy linen. A quick shout out to Gauri who requested this tutorial, so I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy this whole series, and without further ado, let's get started. For the bag number 1, you will need to cut 1 large rectangle for the main body of the bag and 2 rectangles for the side panels. Next, you want to pin the side panel to the longer side of the main body piece. So you want to align the edges just like that, and you want to make sure that they are right sides together. Now go ahead and pin them in place. Once you've got to the bottom, you want to pivot your side panel and then continue pinning. And once you've got to the other corner, go ahead and pivot again and continue pinning. And this is how it should look like. So technically your side panel should match the side of your main body piece. Now go ahead and sew with 3/8 of an inch of seam allowance. You want to sew one side at a time. Now it may get a little tricky around the corner area, but your aim is really to get it stitched through, so even if it is not perfectly flat, it's okay. Alright, so you should end up with something like this. Now go ahead and repeat the same with the other side. And here I've already sewn both of my side panels. Sew the lining exactly the same as the exterior piece, leaving about 4 to 5 inches of opening at one of the sides to turn the bag inside out later. Next, we're gonna work on the straps, so you can go ahead and prepare your strap pieces. I cut mine 24 inches long. You can go a little longer or a little shorter, shouldn't be a problem. Fuse them in place with fusible woven interfacing. Cut the fusible woven interfacing 2 inches wide and center the position on the strap. We're gonna do the typical folding and pressing method for the strap. As usual, you wanna start by folding the strap in half, just like that, and press. And then open the fold and fold the edges towards the center fold, just like that, and press. And then fold everything in a half and press. Now go ahead and sew the edges with 1/8 of an inch of seam allowance, starting from the open edges. For the button loop, you will need a piece of ribbon or elastic that you cut 4 inches long. So you can do an 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, or 3/8 of an inch wide ribbon or elastic, or you can also use the elastic cord. Mark the center point of the back side of your back piece. So you do this by matching the side seams and find the center fold. Now place the ribbon right on that center point mark, just like that. Make sure it isn't twisted. Secure that in place with a sewing clip or pin, and then stitch along the edges with about 1/4 of an inch of seam allowance. For the strap placement, you want to measure in 3.5 inch from the side seams. Now go ahead and place the edges of the strap right by the 3.5 inch point mark, just like shown here. Secure them in place with some sewing clips and then sew along the edges with 1/4 of an inch of seam allowance. And once you've done that, go ahead and repeat the same for the back side. Now we're ready to assemble the back. So you want to turn the exterior piece wrong side out and the interior piece right side out. Insert the interior piece into the exterior shell and then pin them in place, and you want to start by matching the side seams first. And then go ahead and sew all around with 3/8 of an inch of seam allowance. Now turn your back inside out through the opening hole. Now go to your ironing board and press along the edges. Once you've done that, go ahead and top stitch all around. And once you've done top stitching, you want to go ahead and pull the lining out and find the opening hole. Fold the raw edges in about 3/8 of an inch and then go ahead and stitch to close the opening. Next, we're going to assess the placement of the button. First, you want to have the back right side up, and then you want to fold the strap down just like that, and then fold the back in a third just like so, and then do the same with the other side. Now fold the back from the bottom just like so. Determine the position of the ribbon where it's going to sit once it's folded, and then place a little mark there, and that's where you're going to attach the button. You will need a small button about 1/2 an inch in diameter, so go ahead and sew this in place. When you sew your button, try not to sew through the lining. So if you see here, hold my exterior piece and maneuver my needle so I don't have to go all the way to the lining side. I'm sewing back and forth quite a few times just to make sure that the button will sit securely. So here I've already attached my button. So I just want to emphasize here that the button and the button loop should be sitting at the back side of your back. Fold the back the same way like before. And voila, the back is done. For bag number 2, we're gonna work with canvas fabric or any home decor weight fabric, denim or heavy linen. So go ahead and cut 2 pieces, one for the front and one for the back. Finish the raw edges of the sides and the bottom by using zigzag stitch, or you can serge this if you have a serger. Draw and cut 2.5 inch square notches on both bottom corners. Lay both of the back pieces right side together, just like so. Pin them in place and then sew the sides and the bottom with 3/8 of an inch of seam allowance. Open the corner, match the side seams with the bottom seams, pin them in place, and then go ahead and sew with 3/8 of an inch of seam allowance. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and finish the raw edges with zigzag stitch. Now you can prepare your strap pieces. I cut mine 20 inches long. Do the same folding and pressing method. However, you don't need to interface the strap since we use heavier weight fabric. Measure 4 inches from the side seams and then mark it with your fabric marker. Place the end of the straps right by the mark and then sew them in place with 1/4 of an inch of seam allowance. Next, we're going to work on the facings. So go ahead and lay the facings right side together and then sew the sides with 3/8 of an inch of seam allowance. So you should end up with a fabric loop and you want to press the seams open. We're going to hem one of the side of the facings, fold the edges towards the wrong side, 1/4 of an inch, and then press. And you want to do this all around. Once you've done that, you want to fold another 1/4 of an inch and then press. And then go ahead and sew with 1/8 of an inch of seam allowance. Now turn the facing wrong side out and then slide the facing from the top of the bag, just like so. So the right side of the facing should be touching the right side of the bag, and you want to align the raw edges of the facing and the raw edges of the bag. And then go ahead and pin them in place starting from the side seams. Once everything is secured, go ahead and sew with 1/4 of an inch of seam allowance. Now turn the facing towards the inside, just like that, and then go ahead and press the edges. Now top stitch all around with 3/8 of an inch of seam allowance. So the back itself is pretty much done for now. Next, we're going to work on the button flap. So go ahead and cut up a rectangle measuring 5 inch by 4 inch. Fold the edges towards the wrong side, about 3/8 of an inch or 1/2 an inch, and then press. So you should end up with something like this. Now you can go ahead and fold this again in half, just like that, and then press. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and stitch all around with 1/8 of an inch of seam allowance. Measure 1 inch from the bottom of your button flap and then place a little mark there. So for this project, we're gonna use the snap button closure. So go ahead and install the cap on the 1 inch point mark according to the manufacturer's instruction, or you can also watch the Slim Bifold Wallet tutorial where I demonstrated how to attach the button snap closure. I will have the link in the description box down below and in the comment section as well. And here I've already attached the button cap. Position the flap on the center back on the inside of your bag, just like so. And you want to make sure that the button cap is facing up. Now go ahead and stitch along the edges with 1/4 of an inch of seam allowance. Pull the flap out just like that, and then we're gonna fold the bag to assess the placement of the stud. Fold the strap down just like that, and then fold the bag in a third, just like so, and then do the same with the other side, and then fold from the bottom up. Mark the position of the flap where the button is going to sit. Then you want to install the button stud right on the mark. And here I've got mine already installed. Now go ahead and fold your bag the same way like you did before. And voila, bag number 2 is done. Now you can continue and watch bag number 3 tutorial, and happy sewing!